Welcome to El Paso Knives. Today we're going to hammer forge an axe out of this chunk of steel. I have a customer that's requested an axe. I've done a few axes in the past, mostly for decoration. For example, a Scandinavian axe, a battle axe as well for a retirement ceremony for a military member that was retiring. It was his gift. But this is going to be my first woodsman's axe. What I've done is I've gone out and purchased this block of 4140 low alloy steel. It's approximately 3 pounds. Pretty good steel for axe heads from what I've researched. So in order to accomplish this job, what I've done is I went out and purchased an axe drift. I got this from Blacksmith's Depot. You can see it here. I believe this was their medium size axe drift. And these things are not cheap. I want to say I paid after taxes $90 to close to $100 with shipping and everything. But this is necessary to be able to punch drift eyelet for the axe. The other thing I've gone out and purchased was a premium piece of American-made hickory axe handle. This is 20 inches in accordance with what the customer's looking for. Really nice and smooth, has a nice grain on it, and we'll fit this and stain it and get it all prepared in the final phase of the axe build. I initially set my forge to 1200 degrees Fahrenheit. This would prove to be too low of a temperature early in the forging process. So one thing I need to do is I need to create basically a hammer punch to be able to start the eyelet for the drift. So I'm going to take this old hammer, it's got a long handle on it, and I'm going to have to forge this basically into almost a chisel tip to be able to start our axe eye. Once I straightened out the claws on the hammer, I quenched and tempered my new hammer punch. Next, I used the chisel to make an indentation in the axe head in order to start the eye. I then used my newly created hammer punch to expand the eye in preparation to use the drift. Okay, so you can see I've started the eyelet and I'm about 1 inch deep. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to flip it over and start an eyelet on the opposite side to expedite trying to punch through. Alright, so I'm about 3 hours into this and I can tell you it ain't easy. But I won't quit. Gotta keep going. My goal is to try to punch the eyelet all the way through the 4-inch bar before the day's over. During the initial stages of trying to create the eye, I realized that my temperatures were way too low. Using a laser temperature gun, I increased the heat in the forge to approximately 1500 degrees Fahrenheit. Despite my best efforts, after several hours, I was unable to punch through and create the eyelet on the first day. Today is day 2 of trying to put the eyelet into the axe head. Could not do it on the first day, and so just gotta keep at it. I've already done some hammer strikes, and we'll get some more footage of the second day trying to punch through the eyelet. this is after day 2. I am out of propane, so I've got to make a run in the morning, but got a little deeper. As you can see, still have not punched through. Let me show you the other side. Okay, so this is the other side, pretty deep there as well. You can kind of see how the axe head is starting to bow out the area of the eyelet. So making progress, but still not through. At the start of the 3rd day working on this axe, I realized that my temperatures needed to be higher and closer to 1600 degrees Fahrenheit. I placed a brick inside the opening of my forge in an attempt to increase the temperature. Temperature was not my only problem. Well, broke my blacksmith's hammer, so that's going to need to be fixed. After repairing my blacksmith's hammer, I was back at it. Alright, I think I punched through. You can see the bottom of the chisel there. Alright. After several days, I realized that I needed something more than a 3-pound hammer. I gathered some material and tools that I had laying around the house and decided to design and make a treadle hammer. So the treadle hammer that I made took me approximately 3 to 4 days, using only components that I had on hand, from the 2x2 tube steel to my anvil, 10-pound sledgehammer, and the only things that I bought at the store was chain, all my bolts, basically all the hardware, and the cushion bearings. Other than that, everything was repurposed out of material I already had. So the treadle hammer is going to free my hands up. And freeing my hands, it absolutely did. Next, I placed 2 bricks inside the forge to focus the heat on the axe head. Increasing the temperature of my forge, combined with using my 3-pound hammer and my treadle hammer, I was able to move steel much quicker. After setting the axe head onto the helve or axe handle, I handcrafted my own wedge out of carbon steel. Throughout the build, I faced many challenges and setbacks, to include triple-digit temperatures and high winds blowing sand and dust. With the basic tools and the friction that I encountered, the build took me several weeks to complete the axe. In the end, I completed the axe for the customer, and along the way, I learned several lessons. The first lesson I learned is that tools matter. Having the right tools goes a long way. Lesson number 2 is that making an axe is very different from making a knife. It requires a completely different skill set. Temperature is critical and soak times are longer in order to move a large amount of steel in making an axe. The third lesson I learned is that I enjoy making knives much more than I do making axes, so I don't think I'll be taking on any more axe jobs anytime soon. Have gained a much better understanding of how to use my forge and tools that I have. And more importantly, I've learned a lot more about patience and perseverance. I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, keep your hands busy and your knives sharp. Thank you for watching El Paso Knives.